What is the worst rule your DM made up? Let us know in the comments below. I respect the hell out of anyone who runs games, but if I rolled up and there were 14 players, no backstories would have been the least of my concerns. At that point, you're not even playing, and may as well watch or listen to a podcast. Taking half your HP max in one hit is loss of limb. We started at level 2. Very quickly, all of us became amputees. Rule didn't apply to the enemies, too. We were playing the village of Hamlet in AD&D, and I was lucky enough to roll high enough stats to make a paladin. Everyone at the tavern we roll into is suspicious of us, except for one guy who is very chatty with us for no apparent reason. Is he evil? Paladins could detect evil at will back in the day. I have a house rule. Detect evil doesn't detect someone's overall alignment, only whether they have evil intent at the present moment. Does he have evil intent at the present moment? Well, you see, yeah, mumble all you want, DM. You can't weasel out of this one. No backstories sounds like the least of the problems in that group. And at that size, yeah, I can 100% see and understand a DM saying no backstories. That many at once blind is asking for trouble, and it will be borderline impossible to have them all have meaningful impact in the game. As for mine, one DM I knew had a rule. If it made him laugh, it was canon. Doesn't sound terrible until you realize people could abuse that to do all kinds of stuff, including altering other characters because of a bad joke that just so happened to make the DM laugh. Some old D&D campaign. The wizard is flying 6 meters, 20 feet from the ground to stay out of dodge from an enemy. Enemy casts Dispel Magic and dispels the fly spell. DM rules on the spot mid-campaign after inflicting falling damage before that. Falling damage is too low in D&D, and changes the damage ratio from 1d6 3 meters to 1d6 per meter. Damage goes from 2d6 to 6d6. Damage is rolled, mage is dead. No way to get the DM to walk away from the decision either. The campaign disbands a couple of sessions later by losing players, me included. I still fume today. Fun group, good characters, good adventure, and apart from this call and his stubbornness, good DM. Lesson for everyone. Changing rules mid-game is annoying as hell and unfair. If you make a mistake, apologize. Handle the frustration. Don't let hubris drive. Communication is key. Critical fumbles on nat ones that would hit your teammates and somehow bypass their AC, saves, etc. There were battles where we took more damage from friendly fire than from enemies, and it completely fouled up the expected balance of the published adventure we were playing due to excessive resource consumption. Talking to them did not avail us. Also, 14 players is insane, unless maybe it's just a pool of players for a West Marches style campaign. I had a DM with a no flying rule, but to be fair, it was a table of mostly Magic the Gathering power gamers who'd been playing since 3rd edition. If any one of them had fly, they'd be constantly trying to break the game instead of make a story. He also let me fly because the module had it as a prize, and he also said, because you wouldn't know how to optimally use the power even if you were told. Worst rule a DM made was that anytime you were in darkness, you had to roll a d8 to see which direction you went. Even if you hadn't moved since, and it had literally been 6 seconds, you had no idea where you were going. It got to the point where I asked to follow the wall with my hand on it to go a specific direction, and he still had me roll a perception check, and wouldn't even allow disadvantage attacks because I couldn't see where the enemy was, had to roll a perception check at disadvantage to even try to attack, and we would automatically miss if we then picked the wrong tile to attack. It was stupid. It just broke every encounter where he repeatedly used the darkness spell. It was obviously punishment for his own entertainment. Made encounters boring and overly difficult. The entire party spending multiple turns just bumbling around doing nothing. We stopped playing with him about 4 sessions later. We were tired of that shit. Horrible DM. Sadly, not even the worst. Oh, let us know in the comments below. We got to the end of a Theros campaign, and instead of just letting us have our epilogues, we had to describe them and then roll a check on our best stat to see how well they turned out. Basically, everyone got fucked over with an unsatisfying ending to the point that everyone lobbied for my character to have advantage since she was the main one instrumental in solving the problem of the campaign at the end. It made the whole thing end on such a downer note instead of feeling like we really accomplished anything. My DM thought Dex was too important a stat and too powerful with monks, so he decided that monks would no longer use Dex as their core physical stat and would instead use Con. He didn't rebalance anything to split the relevancy of Dex and Con in the class though, but simply took all instances of one and replaced them with the other. Okay, so now I'm playing an I'm as sturdy as a mountain iron monk who just tanks everything, as opposed to I'm as swift as the wind agile monk? Thanks for all the extra HP per level, I guess, ? That nat 20s didn't do anything unless you rolled a second nat 20 immediately afterward, in which case it was an insta-kill. So we never got a critical hit, because no one rolled 2 nat 20s in a row. But even if we had someone who rolled that during a boss fight, that would have been so anticlimactic if the big bad evil guy is killed in one shot. We were all new to TTRPGs in general because there were 3 of us players. Our DM gave us 2 turns on our turn, meaning 2 actions, 2 bonus actions, and 2 reactions. As if that wasn't bonkers enough, a total of 20 or higher was a crit, i.e. rolling a 16 with a 6+ attack mod, so the damage dice were doubled. Rolling a nat 20 had the dice quadrupled, so the level 6 wizard's firebolt did 8d10 fire damage on a crit. The other party members were a paladin and ranger. By then, we had extra attack, and someone decided it wasn't fair that the wizard didn't get extra attack, so now it was 2 firebolts per attack action and 2 actions every round. This all just made sense to us then for some reason. After a while, the only monsters we fought were giant damage sponges with 700+ HP, but it was a great campaign while it lasted. Oh boy! I have a few. Oh, lay it on us. The DM rolls all death saves. Not even the downed player gets to know their death saves. The DM liked the idea of killing characters he didn't like and stated verbatim, "Getting attached to characters is dumb." Standing up costs 15 feet of movement. Not half, flat 15. This causes obvious issues for those with slower speed and boosts those with quicker. If your speed has been reduced to 10 feet, you effectively cannot stand up. Healing potions had a role for successful use. Not choosing a deity to worship had negative repercussions, such as negatives to your rolls, stat reduction, less damage done, etc. The deities were shoehorned in, and you had to fit certain archetypes to worship that specific deity. It caused actual character issues, especially with me. My character was a very John Brown type when it came to slavery. The only deity that abhorred slavery was lawful evil, and the rest of his domain or tenets were whatever were abhorrent to my character. Now normally 4 wouldn't have been an issue if it had been there going in, but this DM liked to toss up rules willy-nilly between sessions because he thought they were cool and wanted a more gritty game. Meaning, the deity thing came down at level 7. Oh, and also random anime power-ups in the middle of the campaign. And getting annoyed I didn't want a devil fruit or to pull from this weird homebrew deck of many things, both I justified by pointing out my druidic mother and druidic upbringing prefer a purely natural body. Had a guy running a Dark Sun campaign 2nd edition, and he liked to use the comeliness stat, which was separate from charisma and was meant to represent physical beauty and attractiveness. Comeliness! I had chosen to play a Thrycreen gladiator. The DM has his favorite NPC roll up to me and do flirty things at me, telling me to follow her. He then said I was enthralled and was indeed going to follow her. I said, "How? Is she casting a spell on me? Don't I get a chance to save?" "It's not a spell, it's her comeliness. She's too attractive to you." "But she's a human. And I'm a 5-foot-tall insect with no moral qualms about consuming a human if survival demands it. I should have no interest in her." "Well, her comeliness is 21, so you do." "What? No way! We aren't even the same species or even the same phylum. Human attractiveness just does not line up with insect mating approval. I should at least get a save." "Look, you..." Oh, God. It's okay, fine. Roll a save. I rolled something around 18 or 19, I forget. "You failed. You start following her." "Roll initiative." "What?" If I'm finding her irresistibly attractive for physical reasons, it means I'm about to go into a mating that, among insects, could very well cost me my life. Dark Sun is a world filled with desperation, betrayals, and cannibalism. I am now defending myself. Put up your dukes. I'm paraphrasing the conversation a bit. It was a long time ago, but that particular campaign didn't get any further than that. As far as I know, nobody wanted to jump into any of his campaigns after that episode either. You know, I love my DM in almost all aspects, but he is the stingiest motherfucker when it comes to gold. We don't make shit from downtime activities. A month of running a shop in Neverwinter? Ha, 21 gold. Killed a dragon and took his hoard. All that gold got our warlock a ring of protection. I already knew I was going to be poor as fuck as a wizard joining mid-game, having to purchase and scribe scrolls. But 950 gold to purchase and scribe a level 3 scroll? I'm tempted to point out to him the number of level 3 spells a cleric or druid has access to prepare from, and I'm settling for 2. Also, we're level 6, but treated like scrubs, which maybe that's just Neverwinter mentality, but in hardcore raw, Forgotten Realms setting, we should be swinging our dicks around. 14 players isn't weird as long as it's a game style like West Marches where people are constantly rotating out, players and DMs alike. 1 DM to 14 players though is crazy, even for a one-night meat grinder game. Which, if that was the case, no wonder your DM tossed out backstories. Worst rolling I've ever experienced though was when I was a fighter. My DM kept disallowing attack, extra attack, action surge to attack, denied me getting another extra attack off that too. But when my DM was a player in one of my games, they insisted they could do exactly that and showed me my own explanation, as if I hadn't pleaded that exact case, verbatim, multiple times. I allowed it because A, it's raw, and B, I wanted to do it too. Back to the game where I'm a player, tried it again and he denied it. I just gave up. I would have just left the damn table. My DM has a special resting rule where you need to rest in havens, which are cities, temples, safe places, you know, not wilderness or dungeons, to recover your hit point dice, to make combat and dungeon crawling harder. The world is an empty post-apocalyptic place with a lot of travel, so the spell I was most eager to get as a level 5 bard was Tiny Hut, which would make my character have a far more comfortable life considering he would be able to sleep every night in a safe, warm, and dry environment. My DM decided that this would be a haven and ruin his healing system, so he decided Tiny Hut would require a consumable to be cast. You can imagine the frustration I felt, since I didn't know what this consumable would be and how many times I would be able to use it. And considering I had a limited number of spells, I went with slow instead. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below what is the worst rule your DM just made up, maybe on the fly, or maybe before the game even started. And of course, if you ever want to support the channel, join the membership program. You get early access to videos, our eternal gratitude, and keep the lights on going. We love you all. Toodaloo for now.